What's up, AfterBuzzers and God Squad? We are back, American Gods Season 2. We're talking the first episode, House on the Rock. The gods are back, the carousel is gorgeous, and there's so much brewing. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers? American Gods is back. I want to say it like are back because it's plural.
It's a plural thing. It's a semantics
yes.
thing. Yeah.
We're talking episode 1, House on the Rock. I did like super power through rewatching this like literally yesterday and this morning.
Binge?
Super binge.
Yeah.
And so it feels like not as long, but it's been a while.
Yeah, it's
since
been almost a
out.
year almost,
Yes,
right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
We'll do some quick introductions. My name is Kari Lane. I'm joined by my awesome co-host.
Flobo Boyce, thanks for having me.
What's up? So you also got a crash course on this right away.
Right, yeah.
How are you feeling with the start of season 2?
I'm so happy to see the direction where it's going to. There's so many things that are laid out, so many visual things I'm liking, and the play on with the real world and the spiritual world is still there. So that's always great.
I love that we're seeing more God stuff in terms of like literally
God
what
stuff.
they look like, God stuff, everything's.
Right.
What they look like and everything, a little bit, not as much with powers yet, because season 1 ends very much on the powers with Ostera and doing like the plague essentially, which touches upon a little bit in this episode. So I'm really curious to see where they're going to be going with that. We do have a live chat going, so welcome everybody who's joining us live. And if you're watching it later, please comment down below. We want to know your thoughts on this episode and as we keep going. It was actually, before we start, I do like this in the chat. Adam Morales says, which side did you choose, old gods or new gods?
I gotta, right now, Team All Gods. I know. The
Right?
new gods look like they're kind of having a nice run, but I do love the cast of characters of the Old God Squad.
It's one of those, the reality of what new gods are, absolutely, we all worship the new gods.
Oh, for sure.
Of course, we have our tablets, we have our screens, so it's like, yes. But I just love the mythology and the
Right.
ancientness of the old gods more.
And I understand that they were more classic, but the idea of like what they stood for, it was like almost everlasting. So.
Yes. So I'm very excited to meet more of them, though later when they get shut up, I was like, wait,
Yeah, I was
who
like,
were they? I want to know.
Yeah, I know, right?
And are they dead?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Does it count? Is it I mean, the
Right.
bullets were labeled, but I don't know.
Yeah. So very beginning, we get Blackbriar, which is, I don't know, somehow that just sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, it's cool and evil at the same time.
Yes. And it's for the president, which my conspiracy theories, I don't think I really knew about this as a place. Had you heard about it?
No, I haven't.
It's like, let us know if you had all heard. I feel this is some things you go, oh, yeah, sure.
Totally.
Yeah. And then with the show, we are talking primarily about the show, not the book. We might get in a little bit of some of the differences and not. I started reading it last time, and I started a little bit, but I'm really not that far, and they change a lot anyway, so it doesn't. But just for some of the people, because it's like this is about we're reviewing the show, not the book.
Sure.
But something I liked in the very beginning of the book, Neil Gaiman points out that there are real places in the book, but it's not one of those that you could literally follow it so much with a map. He goes, yes, I took some certain liberties. So
Okay, yeah.
that's why I like when there's real places that you go, is it real?
Yeah. Like,
Can
what's
we go there?
underneath? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The golf cart opening, man. Oh, yes.
It totally made the most sense to me because for some people, going that weekly golf, that tea time is like church, right? So you
Yes.
got the music going, you got the deliberate tea time happening, and then bam.
Done for with Techno Boy. I thought the interesting thing, the paperclip, I don't think I knew the Baroclamore. That literally means paperclip.
Oh.
Like I looked it up and it's a paperclip and I'm code word, what?
That
Tell
makes
me
sense.
more.
That makes sense, yeah.
Then we get that this time with Mr. World, it's preparation time, which is smart. They went back in their cave, licking their wounds and getting their team back together.
Can I say that no one broods quite like Mr. World?
Oh, he does. He's still like,
Yeah, he's just like, oh man, let's give it some time. I'm gonna come back here and me. Yeah, definitely a new plan is brewing. And they're trying to regroup and all that. I have cautious optimism. I'm thinking, I'm not to worry about it. But I got a feeling, like I'm getting early in the predictions, that this new plan is going to be even bigger than before. So.
Yes. I think Mr. World is somebody to fear, and I think they picked a great actor because I'm like, he's always weird and creepy.
Yeah.
But Technology Boy, I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, oh, he's so annoying. But I think he's supposed to be.
Not a fan?
No, not a fan of him. Media. Yes.
Yeah.
Love her.
Love to hate.
But
or hate to love.
no, I like her because her tactics are better. Technology is a little bit, he's more, I'm doing it my way and does not adjust.
Right.
And Media, she tries her way, and if it doesn't work, she adjusts, and she's a little bit more evolving.
It's more savvy.
Yeah.
Got it.
But I like last season, he gets his like face smashed into the table when they're interrogating. So you're like, we'll see if more stuff happens.
Yeah,
to
to
him.
hold himself accountable, like God should.
Yes. We are in Wisconsin. Love the map visual.
Yes. Wasn't
and
that cool?
the 3D-ness of it. There's a little bit last season, so I'm so glad it's back and even more.
Right.
It's like, I hope we keep doing this. But I don't know if we're going to so many other places because the big point is to get to Wisconsin to this, the carousel and everything. So I don't know where this new battlefield will be.
So yeah, also I'm waiting to see where that goes. But on the idea of the visuals, it was almost like this play of if it was just the open road with them in the car, it'd be like, oh, we've seen that in so many different movies and TV shows and stuff. But like this added a layer of color. It said, look, they're really on an adventure, whether you like it or not. So it's kind of fun.
And as they're leaving Easter, it's the Cadbury eggs.
Yes, yeah, you saw that
was
too.
so cute. Love those little
Easter
eggs. Hey, I'm glad that Laura is with the group and that she didn't have to get left behind or something.
Right. It's like Laura's in the group. She's like, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with you people, but I'm totally along for the ride.
Yes. You know? Sticking with Shadow, staying by his side.
Yeah.
House on the Rock, which is a real place. I think I'd heard of it, but I didn't really know it was real. Had you heard of this
I'd
place?
not heard of it at all, but they sold it as a real place, so it was totally something I wanted to visit.
Would you go? Leave comments. And have you been? Oh my gosh, if you have been, please let us know, because is it as cool as it looks? Because they filmed it so cool.
I want to shout out to the live chat here. Adam Morales says Crispin Glover is a perfect Mr. World. And that's exactly what we were saying a minute ago. Like, it's just
so good.
So on point.
Yes. I like that we don't really get our in America history segment in this bit, but we get the narration of Alex Jordan, then a little bit of history of the House on the Rock and how that came about. And then we get Bilquis, the Djinn, and Salim.
I thought Salim was, I thought he wasn't going to be in this episode at all, but it was like, hey, you have some issues. You want to be left alone for a bit to talk them out?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah.
So yes, please give them their alone time.
Right, yeah, you could tell he is very passionate about the situation, for Salim.
I'm totally shipping Salim and the
Are
Djinn.
you?
I want them to be together.
But they can't, man, like the whole world.
The Djinn needs to come to be like, all right, fine, you're not leaving.
Right, season 3.
I may as well be like, yeah, sure.
You found the right person, why not?
Yeah, and then Mr. World, back to him, the Eyes of Argus, which sounded so like dun dun dun.
Right. Yeah. Where is that going to pay off, right?
Which is the kind of creepy spy thing, which I think goes more in that conspiracy theory thing of being watched all the time. But with where there's cameras everywhere in our world, I'm like, yeah, I believe it.
The market that you got.
Yes. And his bit where he's like, I am the man behind the man behind the man, and you work for me.
Right. Let me ask you a question. How did you feel when you dropped that mic? Like, I feel like I get it, and I totally think he's just laying on the law, but underneath that, I feel like there's always someone behind that. Behind the man, behind the man, behind the man. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's always an opening there for even a...
The way it's been set up, it makes it sound like Mr. World is the highest in his field, if you will, of the new gods.
Sure.
Is someone manipulating him? I don't think so.
Okay.
But there could be. He might not know.
Yeah.
So it might be, is it fate and is it his destiny, or does he have free will of making these choices?
That is deep.
With these gods, I wonder if the gods subscribe to that. Are their actions controlled by another power?
Right.
So, I don't know. We'll find
Time
out.
will tell, yeah.
Right? Nancy. I like Nancy better.
I do too.
I'm all Nancy. Doesn't sound quite right.
Mr. Nancy? Okay.
Yeah. When he points out Easter is not coming. Some of these, I know it might be that way in the book, but some of it, I wonder if it's just because for the actor.
Yeah.
Because like Cloris Leachman later, I'm all, did they do it? Is she the one who had to die just because we couldn't keep her around more?
Right.
And then for Easter, Kirsten Chenoweth too, I was like, oh, I loved her, but
Gotta go.
All right, fine.
Yeah. So I like the fact that how Mr. Nancy does that whole bit about the Easter bunnies and calls him a rabid racist. That was such a funny moment there.
Their bunnies are everywhere, and Mr. Wednesday says, well, we're not going to be welcome, so he just runs him over.
He chews so much scenery, but he does it in such a playful way, which totally goes to the whole Nancy legend and myth. Right?
Yes, yeah. I really like him as a god because he's so entertaining. Oh, interesting. We'll have to look. Or Adam Morales said the recast media, right? Question mark. It's not Gillian Anderson this season. Oh. And Zaya Spilou said, yeah, not sure why she left. Thinks it had to do with Singer being an old showrunner. I think we'll see as the show goes too.
Yeah.
But interesting.
That is something I didn't notice.
I don't like looking ahead too much on IMDb castings because sometimes it could reveal who someone is that you're not supposed to know yet.
Yeah, it's like / evil person from before. You're like, oh no, come
spoilers.
On. Yeah, thanks a lot, IMDb.
Yeah. Laura and Wednesday.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that makes me so happy to watch them butt heads and everything, and I was like, yes, I love the sass of her not backing down from him. She is not scared whatsoever, though I think she's pretty aware of him and what he is,
right?
But I think she feels she's semi-indestructible.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of...
She's already dead.
Yeah, you're already dead, and this person is a god, so you're willing to challenge him that level, saying, look, man, I understand you have some issues, but I'm not liking the way you do it, and I don't think these guys are going to say it for whatever reason may be. I have the latitude, because what are you going to do? Kill me, bro?
Yeah, kill me again? Yes. Yeah. Okay, Zai Spilou says it's Kyun Kim. I did kind of notice there was a thing on casting when I was looking up someone's name. It said new media.
Okay.
Which, it's not quite predictions, but in the sense of if media before Gillian Anderson was older television, new media would be a little bit more the realm of digital media. So I think that not too weird to recast, but Gillian Anderson was so perfect last season. So
right, yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
Gillian Anderson is a national treasure. Or international treasure, I guess.
Yeah. Then we have, the no coin and no entry. I love that bit.
Yeah.
Them and the Jin's like, no.
You don't get to go past
You didn't. But Sweeney's totally rooting for her, and that's a weird one. Okay, do you ship this one? I kind of want Laura and Sweeney together.
You know what? Going into this, I'm like, oh no, heck no. I don't know. But watching this episode, the seeds are there. I'm getting a little ship. I'm building a tiny itty bitty ship for first.
A raft. You're rafting it.
I'm building a raft for them for sure. They have the perfect chemistry. I know the coin is going to be there, part of their relationship, but I think there's going to be a time where there's going to be something more beyond that because they were okay, not okay, but they were together in the set of not having the coin. So.
And not saying we have to ship anybody or there has to be couples, but their chemistry together is so fun to watch. I love Sweeney and Laura together. They're so entertaining because they hate each other so much.
Right.
But the thing is, I think he's at a disadvantage because she looks like someone he had loved before. So he's I don't know how much that's going to play into things later. Right. And I do agree that maybe Shadow's a little too good for her.
But I will say this. Sometimes you find someone who looks like someone you knew before and they could be a total jerk. And
it's true.
I'll never date that person who looks like that guy or that girl ever again. But hey, personalities shine through. So it could work in his favor.
And I think he's just telling himself he wants his coin back, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because he put it back.
Right.
It came out and he put it back.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
All right, I'm building a full ship.
He's fighting for her, too. What do you think? Please let us know. Do you ship Laura Laura Moon and Mad Sweeney, though I'd just say Sweeney. Then we get, his fortune card, which is fun.
Yeah.
Have you ever done one of those things?
No, I'm always afraid to. I feel like I got a 404 error or something.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Zoltan, found.
It's like big. You're like, no, I don't need to know what it is.
Exactly.
I've done it at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, and they were fine. There's one that was actually it's pretty long and detailed. There's a lot of things. Let us know. Have you ever done one of those things?
What does it
They're
say?
Fun.
What do they say usually?
I mean, some of them are so wonderfully generic of go on an adventure, take new chances, or they're just one of those. Generally they're a little too blanket broad.
Sure.
But maybe depending on how you apply it to own life, you might think it's specific.
Yeah, I've only gone as far as fortune cookies, and even those could be kind of sketch. Like last month I took a fortune, and I swear to you guys in the chat, the fortune said a good way to stay healthy is eat Chinese food. And I was like, what? That's not fortune at all.
Lame. I had one where it was a little plastic bag. There was actually no cookie in it.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I was like, what?
It's
okay.
invisible. Yeah.
Yes, it's an invisible fortune cookie. I've kept some fortune cookie phrases when they're actually like really good.
Yeah. I think we all gotta do that.
Yeah, if it's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, the mood board.
Yes, they're on the fridge. So yes, for Shadows, I like every ending's a new beginning. Your lucky number is none. Maybe he doesn't need luck because he has the moon coin.
Okay.
Favorite color is dead. I felt that was Laura somehow.
Sure.
I don't know how. Like father, like son. There's something I kind of know because I was talking to somebody, and no spoilers if you do know, because if you read the book, but I'm curious how they'll play that out because he didn't question it too much.
Yeah, and he read it out loud too.
Yes.
Which I thought was kind of interesting.
And it's the Norns, the fortune telling, but no sharing. But then Wednesday goes, let me see yours.
Right. It's like, wait a minute.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And opaque on arrival and inevitable in retrospect. I did like that, which is a
Yeah.
good point. Sometimes fortunes you go, eh. And then later, oh my goodness, makes sense.
Premonitions.
All the things, yes. And then, oh yeah, Wednesday when he goes off his own and meets Zoraya, that last name, was all Vechnaraya. I do love Cloris Leachman though. I thought she was such a fun character, and him flirting with her.
Such a doll.
So far it's so fun. And
my heart swelled a bit. Like, I thought, how it's going to be when I'm that age? I don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
Can still be, there's no end age of love and flirting.
Take notes from Odin, guys. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
And we see that Chernobyl is back too, but they're kind of waiting. They don't really want to be part of the carousel, and that kind of makes sense. They're involved, but they maybe aren't as. We'll wait till like step 2. It feels like they're doing that.
Yeah.
And then Laura's fortune is blank. I think it means because it hasn't been written or can change.
Oh, yeah.
Not just because she's dead, which nobody says that. They all go, oh, because you're dead.
Yeah.
Or you have no fortune. I would go more that it hasn't been decided.
That would be actually a more noble pursuit. I would thought it was strictly because she was dead, but you're right. That'd be kind of a cool way of saying, hey, look, your fortune is definitely fluid now because you're walking amongst.
It's changing the thing.
Right, yeah.
The scale of everything, because she probably was not a factor that Odin thought for later. He thought she'd be gone, and surprise, I'm back, but I'm dead.
Surprise.
Yes. I wonder how he really feels about that. He's kind of like, damn nabbits.
I know, right? Writes in his diary.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you'll believe what happened to me today.
Oh, I like that you kind of did it like you're typing.
Yeah,
I did it like I'm writing it. Oh, old gods, new gods.
What?
Yes. So they talk about the places of power. Oh, Adam Morales in the chat says Laura gets to make her own fortune.
Duh.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
Yeah, that totally
pretty
makes
much.
sense.
And then
Adam.
I thank you everybody talking in the chat, and I know some of you are there and quiet. It's okay. We still love you. And yes, again, comment down below if you're watching this. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up and click that subscribe button so that you know when we're posting the videos. And don't worry, you can adjust the notifications. So if you don't want to necessarily know right away, but you know when to check in, it's all good. Yeah. And then iTunes, give 5 stars because 1 through 4 don't work.
Yeah,
So,
they don't.
Yeah,
Totally.
they don't work. We get, the places of power. I like that he doesn't say, Odin doesn't say it, or Wednesday, doesn't say it specifically, but says Stonehenge.
Yes.
Yes.
Or Sword in a Circle, yeah.
Yes. Which, have you seen, I'll have to post this on Twitter later because it was just such a fun one. Yarvis, they did their, What Does the Fox Say?
Yeah.
They have a song called, What is the Meaning of Stonehenge?
I have not heard.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, is it a video too?
It's a music video, comedy,
man.
and the guy, the dark hair one. If you guys have not watched it, if you have not seen What Does the Fox Say? Whew, that's old.
That's a
Callback,
classic.
yeah.
That is like a classic for
So
sure.
it's a blonde guy, brunette, and I'm sorry, I don't know their names. Yeah, Ylvis, Ylvis.
Yeah.
Dark hair one is a thing, and it's like, what is the meaning of Stonehenge?
Yeah.
I'm not a singer, but like that's the idea of it's this dramatic
I
thing.
gotta see this.
So funny. Now I think about that for this. So, and then yes, they point out churches and the carousel, and that kind of makes sense too, of like if people are drawn to a spot and then they make some sort of altar, church building, something, because it is a place of power. Because even like in nature, you can feel that in certain places, like there's an energy.
Right, and I think that's one of the cool things about the old gods in particular. When they enter the screen or we're seeing, there is a certain kind of vibe with them, whether it's playful in Mr. Nancy's case, or even Odin's kind of like stately nature. And I think that's one of the things that I think this show does a good job of showing you how those people inspired like us mere mortals to write about them, to worship them, to believe in them.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. Zayas Pilu in chat says, Yatiti Badaki and I apologize if I pronounce it wrong because I said fast, Bilquis would be a great candidate for a DC Vixen or MCU Storm.
Yeah, I said Vixen for sure. Yeah.
Which she did come on last season. We're pseudo working on maybe getting her for this season. So pray to the gods that she'll come in and as a guest because we'd love to have her. So you follow the signs. That's what it is. So we get to the carousel, which the only thing I know is kind of from the book is the carousel bit has maybe been pushed up a little bit, but even Bilquis too is you're introduced to her early in the book, but it's more later. So they've pulled that character forward, which is not uncommon for shows to do. Shout out to The Expanse. They pulled a character forward of Asarala because it's a really cool character, and you're just like, let's pull them forward so we get more of them.
Right.
I love Anansi saying, yeah, if you follow the signs, you're not going to have any, I wonder how many swears we get, never fucking fun. I thought that was a good point. That's the, that's the other phrase. Well-behaved women really rarely make history.
Also very important. So that was the moment I stopped and went, man, that's a life motto right there. You can take that to work, to school, in the car. Like, sometimes break the rules or bend them as far as you can out there. Yeah.
Because there are definitely rules that are in place. If don't cross this, you will die. But then there's other ones. All right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Especially if you're in a line for the bathroom and one's empty. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the ladies going to the men's room because they have no line. Which
why not?
At concerts, just saying. And then we jump, which I love the visual. This was a moment. I love the cinematography on this show.
Yes.
The moment when they come to the carousel and like that epicness of that shot. Also, they love their macro close-ups on this show, which I like as well.
Right.
Then we get to it going fast and everything. I do like that Shadow never feels a little too alarmed with it going super fast.
Right. He's like, I've been here.
He's
cool.
Sure. Okay. And then we're inside Wednesday's memories.
So that is what I want to talk to you about the cinematography. Yes. That was the moment I was like, look at this mise-en-scene. Look at this giant, expansive land that's somehow cold because it's in his mind or whatever.
Well, it's a Vikings world, essentially.
But you feel it. You feel like if oh my gosh, if I was dumped there on like a really bad like tourism tour, I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared, And it was on point.
Rocky places of possibly Norway.
Yeah, desolation. There's like nothing out there. Yeah.
Not all that Norway looks like that, but that where they are there.
Yeah.
I just recently was watching Vikings, the show, so then it's like, well, Floki goes to that kind of a place.
Okay.
There's a character called Floki, but yeah.
Downtown Norway?
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Just kidding.
Bilquis and Shadow, which that's when we get to see all the gods in their true form.
That was cool.
So gorgeous.
So I wanted to ask you this question.
Yes.
So imagine like you're sitting down with your popcorn Sunday night and you turn on, maybe you're late, right? You put on, but you see this scene. I'm just like, all of these gods and their eyes are in flame and their colors and they're discussing why they should do. Like, how'd that make you feel as a viewer?
I thought it was so cool because that's what I want in this show because I do like them in the real world. Right. It's similar to, there's a graphic novel series called Fabletown, or Fables, sorry. Fable, yeah. And it's all of our people from like fairy tales living in real world as like a safety precaution. So like they have normal day jobs. So it's really cool seeing these gods in normal everyday life because that's how they've survived. But we've waited so long to really see their true forms. We got to see a little bit before because we did see Bilquis and Odin kind of show it, but this is, we've been waiting for it.
Oh yeah.
What about you?
I feel like there's a lot of scenes in this season and last season, well, this episode and last season about each god in their own little silo, how they're strong, how they interact, but to see the interplay between all of them.
Seeing them together.
What the hierarchy would be, what side are they on, what their thoughts are. To me, that was the icing on the cake for this episode.
It is interesting. That's a good point of who really would establish a hierarchy because if they're from around the world. Yes, it's them in America because they were brought there, but it's still so many different ones, but it's maybe whoever starts it is going to be the leader of it, essentially, because Odin, god of war, is the one who's going to push for a war. And I do like that Kali gets in on it, but then she is questioning him and going, I don't know, this is not, she survived. She said, I've been here before, and then I've been out there. Though some of the characters, I was a little bit bummed they didn't necessarily spell out who they were, but I was like, who are these other people?
Right.
Say something, and I want the subtitles to be saying who they are.
Exactly.
But we'll see how they keep going. And I think it's smart, though, that she questions him of if they are trying to survive, why upset that balance?
Yeah.
So.
And it was interesting that Kali was the one to come up and say the counterpoint. Like, well, what is our next move then?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if Odin necessarily planned for Bilquis to say, well, you got to evolve or die.
Yeah.
And she agreed with him, but maybe not necessarily his methods. And I would say that is probably the only way they can truly survive is to adapt. Same way Easter did it too, of you need to find a new way, which sadly that's kind of what the new gods were proposing, but apparently they cannot all agree on that. Because it's, well, they claim that's what they were doing, of let's help adjust you to the modern times. But the question is, how sincere was that?
Exactly. Let's help you adjust, but let's make you very, very much
in the background. Yes,
exactly.
yes. We'll find out.
Backup dancers, and we can totally. Yeah.
Then we get Shadow. So it's the surprise and possible closer of the deal.
Yeah.
I believe in him, and the other gods. Okay, sure.
And not one person's like, who the heck is that
Yeah,
guy?
nobody questions, who is that? Why is there this person in here?
A shirt. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's just really, I mean, it wasn't weird, because I feel like that'd be the person to step up to the plate. But to me, I wish they had some pushback, at least from someone being like.
Or at least they're maybe so above it, but they've known that Shadow's been with Odin, that Odin is vouching for him. So maybe
His eyes
that's
doesn't
why.
even glow, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they could have at least been Odin, why is he with you? Not necessarily who he is, but like, why are you bringing along to this meeting?
Absolutely true.
But maybe they like it because they want that worship and they want someone to believe in them. So this little guy goes, I believe, and then they go, oh, it's like a drug. They go, we need that too. Please believe in me as well.
You got that worship, bro? Like,
yeah. Oh, dude, when Bilquis is looking at him, like a tall glass of water, no, run!
Yeah, go, Bilquis, no.
I do like, there's a scene with technology and her in the last season, and he says something of like, I don't want to be in essentially like your vagina bliss. And he's like, no, I'm not ready for that. No, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious if she could have sex where someone doesn't get eaten into the vagina galaxy.
Hashtag that one now.
Right? I'm like, I mean, those people seem happy enough because it was pleasure and you're dying in this ecstasy, quote unquote. I see it as kind of dying because your body as you exist now is no longer.
Right, exactly.
Can you come back?
I doubt
don't
it.
think
I'm like, what a great day, and that's it. Like, there's no way to come back. Like,
yeah, that's a weird one. Josh Webb in the chat says, Team Old Gods.
Give it up.
And then I also half wonder if it's casting, acting, and the character itself that if we pick old or new. Because so far the new gods have been annoying.
Sure.
Like, they're not necessarily people. I mean, Media, maybe we had a little bit more understanding with her because technology, he's a brat.
Right.
Mr. World is respectful but not warm. And then Media is the only one that is trying to make a deal and barter trade with that.
I think that the casting's on point because these entities are so new that they don't have their own mythology as they are. They do. I mean, they have their followers, but they're kind of just like these new, like almost undefined like forms yet. And I feel like with another couple thousand years, you'll have its own Odin thing or its own answer. Yeah.
Yes. All the other gods. Then we have, some people have hashtagged it. Yeah, I know, right? Well, hashtag God Squad's the one that I've seen, but I bet there'll be another lot of fun ones after these episodes, or probably from before. Okay, so then we have, so Shadow then also makes a great point of take a chance to be worthy of their belief, of the humans. Yeah. So that's a great point too, because so far it doesn't seem, the old gods seem to want to work with the human beings. It doesn't seem like the new gods care. Right. It doesn't seem like they're offering a service and giving back, because that's kind of what Odin's pushing with the old gods of, they gave us prayers, not necessarily just sacrifices, because if it was just sacrifices, they might be asking a little too much, but the prayers or offerings, and then they gave back. So I'm wondering where that will lead, and that's interesting how that kind of sway some of the gods.
Sure, I know in the background we always say, well, humans evolved and there was reason and we became into science. We found other ways to believe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can argue then there is nothing that happened on the God side that make people say, hey, look, I still want to stay with this. This is happening, this is evolving, but no, man, like Odin is really my dog. Like there's nothing really there too. So I mean, it's.
Can't you believe in both?
You could, but that's the thing. I mean, is that really all or nothing? But that's what it seems like too. Where it's like, why does one believe in me, guy? Like, it's just so.
I mean, then this gets extremely personal with some people. Of like, I think there are people though that believe in the new and the old, or even Western and Eastern. Of different ones. Like, there's plenty of people here who live here in the United States and still believe in the gods from whence their ancestors came, essentially. Because everybody came here from somewhere.
Right.
So I think it's possible to maybe have more than one or adapt and change with what it is. Because if someone didn't show you what it was, how do you discover what one you want for yourself?
Exactly. That's ultimately where the battle's going to be. There's going to be some who are like, I'm an old god fan forever. You can't change my mind.
Yes.
And some are like, that's or the unevolved. I'm over here, the new gods. And then I think the majority of people are at least open to being that. I think that's where the battleground's going to be.
But I do think I'm a little worried for Boyce, which we saw in the preview for next time of her not necessarily picking a side, which we'll get to that in a minute. But and speaking of Boyce, the Boyce and Laura kiss.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, where's that coming from?
Shipping that too?
Yeah. I was a little curious because I was worried either of can Boyce gift or anything of, I mean, it does seem that Odin could be the only one to reverse the death, which we learned before, because the thing is she got killed by a god, so only a god can reverse that. So I really doubt Odin's going to jump on that bandwagon of, yes, Laura, let me help you. Unless Shadow maybe really pushed for it, but I don't think that's going to happen that way. And then I was a little bit underwhelmed, disappointed that Boyce didn't know, like, you're dead.
Right.
Like you didn't smell or something. Like she assumes she's a god.
Right.
Which fair. I mean, she notices like Wednesday's not selling you anything. You're something different, but I mean, some of the other people right away go, you're dead.
Right. I think because Boyce's alliance has not been defined yet. I like to think she's an old god, but we don't really know. The idea is seeing this character who's like, well, I'm not really sure whose side you're on. What do you want to do? You don't have as many stakes in the game. Are you an ally? Are you going to be someone that stab me in the back?
I don't think she can remain neutral.
Yeah, exactly. You can. In things like this, you can never stay neutral.
Yes.
Those are not fun.
Oh, okay. Zayas Belou says that kiss was something. I wonder if Boyce can relieve her of the deathness, if you will. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if. I know that we haven't seen a whole lot of what Boyce can do externally. We can see how she takes in power, literally, but I don't know what she does externally of abilities.
Yeah, it's true.
So I wonder if she could give. I mean, it seems. I don't know.
If she could,
I think she would.
If she would, and her alliance was more to the new god, that would be used as a leverage point. I'll bring you back your life in exchange for something else.
Could be. Then we have Mr. World pretty much has a sniper shoot the old gods. Oh my goodness. I was like, shite. Of like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And I think they are dead. Because Zariah was definitely I felt like that was her death. But it almost felt like just a bullet can kill them? Right. Are their bodies? But it could be they're that weak in terms of lack of worship that they're not that strong to withstand that.
That's definitely, well, taking a step back, I didn't think they were going to make a move this episode, and they did.
Right.
Props.
Oh, right away. First episode.
The bullets had days moratorium on them. So I guess that literally means the death of God, which also raises this question, like, who's making these bullets? Because, last season.
Because Vulcan's not alive.
Right. So that's something I was worried about with there, too. But to your point, I think dead is dead. I think it's pretty much that we are saying goodbye to Zarya this night.
Or we can bring him back. Come on, Laura Moon, bring him back. Or something. I don't know.
But her last words were just so like,
oh, yeah, you're a bad good man.
You're a bad good man. Do not wish to say goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, Cloris Leachman. I love her, too. Right. She's adorable.
Twist the knife, why don't you?
Yes. And Chernoborg doing his curse.
Yeah.
He's a good, slimy guy.
Yeah, he is.
Right? Because you're just like, I don't like you, but I like you. Like, he's such a character that I wouldn't want to hang out with him, but I like him on the show. Yes.
Exactly. I would probably order a beer next to him at the bar, but I wouldn't cut him off in traffic. I'll get this curse and then he'll sit
or
me
he'll
forever.
use his hammer and take out your tire.
Exactly. I deserve this.
Right?
Yeah.
And of course, Shadow is the smartest one in the room and goes after the sniper.
Props for that.
Tries to save Laura.
Right.
Or he does. He knocks her out of the way. And Mad Sweeney's luck is essentially better, though, because he had the sight on him, but slipped in blood and got out of the way. So I wonder if his luck is changing.
It might be a little bit in his direction.
And I wonder if hanging out with Laura could positively impact his luck. We don't know yet.
If that were the case,
so far, yes. Yes. So I like that Shadow. Oh, okay. Zayas Belu says, I think they're dead unless the vessels are in are dead, but not the souls. I don't know. We'll see. That's a good point, too. Like, maybe their essence could still be around. Because we've seen before, the only way that gods really die is they're forgotten.
Right.
And their believers don't believe in them anymore completely. Because then, essentially, that was the only thing Wednesday said he feared, is to be forgotten. So maybe this vessel, or, they're weaker, that they would need time to be able to come back into another form.
Excellent point.
That's a good point. And then, yes, Shadow is the only smart/stupid one to go after the sniper alone, but finds them, but gets abducted essentially by aliens. Not really, but, that's what I look like.
Props to keeping your fist up, man.
Yes.
Guard in the face. But yeah, paid for it with an abduction of some sort.
Oh, my goodness.
Where do you think it's going?
I think that leads us into predictions.
Yeah.
There it is.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
100% it's Mr. World and them who kidnapped him, because I don't know why they want him in terms of they just know he works for Odin. They already pseudo-kidnapped him once before.
Right.
So, and there have already been images in the trailers for next time that he's getting... Sounds funny, cheesy with the aliens. He's getting probed.
Nice.
They're looking into his mind. I think they want to know what Odin's up to, and they think he really knows, but he doesn't really.
Yeah.
He has not told anything ahead of time. I don't think whoever kidnapped him necessarily wants to kill him. They know he's important, so they probably will hold him hostage. I want to see more of these old and new gods, and I really almost wanted the cheesy thing where... we might get it later, where Shadow is talking to Chernobyl and he says, like, are all these people gods? And they laugh at him and Anansi doesn't say anything. I wanted the super cheesy. Well, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so.
Yeah.
Can I get the exposition moment? I want to know who everybody is.
Like the kids at the table at lunch.
Yeah, who's so-and-so?
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get that yet, and this show doesn't really do that, so, but... I want to see more of them, and I think we will be getting that. And I want to see more of the powers, because I think this show kind of does ebb and flow in terms of regular, real world stuff, and then these crazy moments of
For sure.
power, because they have some. We want to see it.
Yeah.
What about you? What are thoughts?
I think that next week we're gonna get more background as to what Bilquis's alliance is. I think she left that that diner scene kind of early with something on her mind. I want to know a little bit more on that. So I'm thinking next week we're gonna find out what that exactly does that mean.
I thought she was the package.
Yeah.
But I think it's Shadow that they're like, go intercept the package.
For sure.
But I thought it was her because how she got in the car. But I think that was just another offering on her phone of swipe right, swipe left, get that.
It's a red herring,
But I think she'll have to pick a side. I think she relates more to the old gods, though technically I think she was a little bit of, not quite insulted, but disappointed that they didn't necessarily include her.
Sure.
But, Wednesday has not been not the smartest one in the room of getting everybody. He just gets who he thinks he needs.
Right. And that may be his downfall. We don't know.
Yes, this is
Predictions.
true. I want to also, again, thank you so much, everybody who joined us in the live chat. And we will continue this discussion more, and we'll give you our handles in a moment. But please comment down below what you thought of this episode. And again, if you've already read the book, let's not get into spoilers because we're talking about the show. And if you're if you're listening on iTunes, thank you so much for tuning in. Give the show 5 stars because 1 through 4 don't work. Or let us know, your thoughts on the show or any particular things you want us to focus on for future episodes. And same thing for YouTube. If you're watching, comment down below on on that. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Sure. All right, and then we'll go to where can they find you online?
Oh, of course. I'm on Twitter at Flobo Boyce, on Instagram at Flobito, Flobito.com, and I'm also tomorrow night the Raw AfterBuzz panel right here on AfterBuzz Television.
Nice. And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And you can also find me on Box Office Breakdown, which airs a little bit earlier on Sundays. We talk about what movie came out over the weekend. We talked a lot about Captain Marvel and all the stuff associated with that. And then we also, earlier in the day, which doesn't really matter if you're watching later, AfterBuzz anime reviews. We're talking right now Soul Eater. We only have one more, and then we'll be covering a new show. So stay tuned for that. Again, thank you so much for watching, listening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.